Day we are together again. On the day we are together again, I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again, we will share the same table again. We will share the same table again. I will pass you the salt, the candlelight will bend when we share the same table again. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will stop for a snack at the taco truck stand when we walk around the block hand in hand. Someday we will go back to work. Someday we will go back to work. May we be among people who respect our work. Someday we will go back to work. I will write you a letter for now. I will write you a letter for now. Hope is a message that survives somehow. I will write you a letter for now. I will help the strangers I meet. I will help the strangers I meet. It is possible to get back on our feet. I will help the strangers I meet. To the healers who keep us alive. To the healers who keep us alive. A toast to your courage, knowledge and light. To the healers who keep us alive. And the ones we love who are gone. And the ones we love who are gone. We remember the stories and we sing the songs for the ones we love who are gone. And on the day we are together.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. Today is January 2nd, 2024. 2024. It's going to take us 6 months to remember how to write 2024. We're going to write 2023 for a good 6 months, probably. It's good to see you all in chat. This is something that, I'm I usually don't cover things like this, but I'm expanding a little bit. Thank you, Karen. Thank you all. Thank you all for the kind compliments and just the warm welcome. I appreciate you. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, a man that was extremely, extremely wealthy and powerful. Now, his name is associated with an RSO, someone that has money and abused Jane Does. That is what they're named as. And guys, we have a lot to cover in this. So by midnight, and I'm gonna break it down for every one of you who don't know what this is about. We're gonna cover that, and then I'm gonna show you guys some videos, and it's, oh my god, really, really rough stuff. Thank you so much, single mom, true crime. Welcome. Thank you so much for renewing your membership. That's very kind of you. I appreciate your support for this channel. So, um, I I I don't really care for conspiracy theories. You guys know that. However, this is not conspiracy. This is Jeffrey Epstein. Google Jeffrey Epstein, and the first thing that he is labeled under is ARSO. Disgusting. Single mom, true crime, welcome. Oh, thank you for gifting a membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you was the one that received the membership, please give single mom a true crime a big thank you. Thank you so much. I love the gifting. It's a good thing that others can gift. It's a sweet thing. All right. Yes, welcome to the family, whoever got it. All right, so let me show you guys. First, let's cover exactly what this is, and we're going to go all the way around Jeffrey Epstein's island. I'm going to show you things. Now, there is as many as 200 names that will be coming out tonight, and I want just because all 200 names are there, it doesn't mean that they are all Jane Does, that they are all bad people. It just means that they was on his flight at some point. I mean, just because someone went to that island doesn't mean they was doing really bad things, right? So it's time, Shannon. Yeah, it's time. Um, so we're still waiting for those that that log and those names. They have until midnight. They could be dropped during this live, and if they are, we'll be on it. Trust me. Um, so let's go over this, and this is going to tell us what we're talking about. A long list of people associated with the late S.O. Jeffrey Epstein is expected to be made public in the coming days. Well, today is the day, and by midnight they have. This disclosure may throw new light onto the S trafficking network directed by Epstein, who died in 2019, and his associated Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, we know who she is. She has been sentenced. Okay, been sentenced, right? Now, I don't believe Jeffrey Epstein. In my opinion, I do not believe he died at the hands of himself. That is one thing that I do not believe. Um, like on Twitter right now, X right now, people are they say like allegedly the JP Morgan uh uh big dogs, I'll just put it like that, are really scared because they think a lot of their top clients are going to be named on these logs, and there's going to be a lot of uh PR right now, trying to tamp this down. Now, I think I do think, for instance, Clinton, one, allegedly will probably be on there. For me, I want to make this very clear. This is not a political thing for me. This is to do with trafficking, right? This is what this is about. To me, it has nothing to do with what side, because there's going to be both sides that are on there, right? Both sides of the aisle. And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. What matters is the people that are on there and that have done some allegedly some crazy, disgusting, despicable things. Their name is out there, right? Now, I mean, this goes as far as to, the royal family, a member of the royal family. So, all right, let's continue right here. All right, the disgraced millionaire mixed with high-profile figures from the worlds of politics, business, and royalty. A judge ordered the court documents in a lawsuit linked to Maxwell must be unsealed. There is 187 mentions of J. Doe. One second. Okay. Um, So there's 187 mentions of J. Doe in the court papers, and many of these will now be given their real names. So before, it was always J. Doe number 34, J. Doe number 35. But by midnight, any minute now, these names are going to be out. And I'm sure that there's, some a lot of these higher people didn't, want exposed, I'm sure. Why are these names being public? The identities of being revealed under a settled lawsuit against Maxwell, the daughter of the British media tycoon. She is serving a 20-year prison sentence for the crimes she committed with Epstein. The defamation lawsuit was brought on by Virginia Julia, one of Maxwell's accusers, and at the time, the names were kept under court ordered seal. But last month, a judge in New York ruled that they could now come to light. What did the judge say about the names? Judge Loretta uh, Preska noted that many of the individuals named in the lawsuit have been publicly identified by media or Maxwell's criminal trial. Some of the names came out, and we'll get to that. She added that others, quote, did not raise an objection, end quote, to the release of the documents. Some of the names on the list will remain sealed, including those belonging to child victims, the judge said in her ruling. And like, if they're children, obviously they need to be remain sealed, in my opinion, at least. Um, where were we? And some individuals may have appeared more than once under different Doe numbers, so the exact numbers of names to emerge is unknown. We're expecting, under 200, 170 to 200 or so. Holly Balt's investigations editor of the Palm Beach Post told CNN on Tuesday that new details may be revealed. Even if the names on the list turn out to be already known, she said, new light may be shed on the exact nature of the relationships with Epstein and Maxwell, whose name may be on the Epstein list. They will be a mixture of people accused of wrongdoings, people making these accusations, and others who were potential witnesses to crimes. There could be employees of Epstein's or people who visited the home or went on his private plane. Prince Andrew is expected to be on the list. The court filing include 40 documents of evidence from a woman who has made accusations against the prince. Joanna, I don't know how to pronounce Schoberg. I think it's Schoberg. Okay, Schoberg, right? Okay. Claimed Prince Andrew uh, groped her breast while sitting on the couch inside of Epstein's Manhattan Park uh, apartment in 2001. Buckingham Palace had previously said that the allegations are, quote, categorically untrue, end quote. Categoric, categor. I put a G in it. Categorically. Ca- ah, categoric. Huh. Why can't I say it? Categorically. Categorically. This is annoying me. Categorically untrue. Okay. Last year, the prince paid millions uh, uh, to Miss Julia to settle a lawsuit she filed claiming that he SA'd her when she was 17 years old. He said he had never met Miss Julia and denied her allegations. Will Bill Clinton be on Epstein's list? The former US president is mentioned more than 50 times in the court documents, according to ABC News, but there is no implications of any illegality. He traveled on Epstein's plane on I can't talk humanitarian trips to Africa in the early 2000s, and at the time praised Epstein as a committed philanthropist. Mr. Clinton's team had previously said that he had cut ties with Epstein before the financier became under investigation. Mhm. They have in the past said he knows nothing about Epstein's crimes. Many of his mentions in these court filings related to Miss Julia's unsuccessful attempt to make the former president testify about his relationship with Epstein, says ABC. Who is Jeffrey Epstein? Epstein is a millionaire known to mix with high profile figures like Prince Andrew, died in jail in 2019. His death, as he awaited federal trafficking charges, was ruled to be a suicide by the New York Medical Examiner. I personally disagree with that, but I'm not a medical examiner. He was accused of running a quote vast network for underage girls for sex. He pleaded not guilty. A decade later, he has been convicted of soliciting prostitution for a minor. All right. Did no, Prince Andrew is still very much alive. Still very much alive. All right, let's look at this. Want to show y'all a few different things. Well, more than a few different things here. These are in no particular order. I know that some people say Trump may be on the list. I mean, Trump has been around Jeffrey, but I don't think he'll be on the list. Trump has his own plane anyways, right? So why would he be on the list? In my opinion. All right, I want you to watch this. All right. So this video that we're getting ready to watch. This is Jeffrey Epstein's brother. And this is a recording. Whenever Jeffrey died, his brother was trying to claim his body. Listen to this recording.
of the day. Check this
Who is
out.
this? This is his brother, right?
This is his brother. Watch this.
Lower Manhattan.
Okay, but as of right now, you're telling me you can't find the PCR report.
Not for the 10th of
This is
August,
whose brother?
2019.
Maxwell's brother.
Not in, it's not
No.
No,
in
Maxwell.
the
Epstein.
fire
Epstein's
department
Epstein's
database.
brother.
I don't know
Yes.
why. If it's supposed to be there, we'll find out. But first, you got to get the letters of administration before you can take them anywhere.
Yeah, you see, because the date on here is the 10th of 19. That's the day they found him, they took him, he was dead.
Well, then they might have taken him directly to the morgue.
No, he was in the hospital. I have photographs of him in the hospital too.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
I'm just going by.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just trying to explain what I know.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened, but so far he's not in the fire department database.
Weird.
I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Too many.
Listen, man. Look, is he still going?
And could they have taken him somewhere? Well, see, he has a photograph of the fire department personnel. Oh, yeah.
What did he say? I couldn't hear.
He said that because you see the fire department personnel there, that doesn't mean they provided documentation.
They told me they did. I spoke to them.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who suggested I get the PCR reports.
Well, they're saying one thing, but the computer is saying something
You can
else.
pause it right there. Go ahead,
Listen,
Adam.
there is no telling how
Why? Where was?
high up this goes
Listen to
and
this.
how deep this goes and what tentacles this will lead to. There's no telling. There's a lot of very rich, powerful, access-driven people who are basically behind closed doors doing everything they can to make sure the truth never comes out. Okay? Did Epstein kill himself? We all want to know. Here's what we do know. This story is not going away. As much as the rich and the powerful and the accessible want this gone, okay? There's a yearning and a clamoring in the American people and the people worldwide. They're like, not so fast, buddy. That ain't happening on my watch. That's what
Yes, a lot of people want this gone, but it is going nowhere. Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, was unable to locate Jeffrey Epstein's body after being self-unalived. He was in the hospital. I have photographs of him in the hospital. They could not find him for a minute. Stacy, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that as well. I've got some clips of Melinda Gates, who says, some quite damning things, in my opinion, of, all of this. Yeah. Oh, greedy, dollar rich people trying to get away, but what have they done? This has opened up a can of worms. Good. This is, it's good that you can't, just because you have money and power, doesn't mean you can abuse someone that doesn't have money or power for your sickness, right? All right.
Going kind of relationship with Gates, which is, these messages to Gates people are 2011. So that's after he's already a known sex offender. He's been convicted. He got his house arrest or whatever kind of deal he got for sexual misconduct with underage girls. So you can't say, oh, I didn't know. It was known. It was known by then. There's some joking about Miley Cyrus, who at the time of this is 15. She's a Disney star at the time. So that's again a clear inclination of an awareness of exactly the kind of thing Epstein goes for. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I think
Very
it's
disgusting.
It's a bit of a lens into what the world is like for bankers in America at the very high level. The emails that Li Fong posted to Twitter, you have one from a Mary Erdoes at jpmorgan.com official email to an unknown person saying, Obviously, they're at a party. This is really late at night. The first email is about 8:30. This has turned into a cheesy broker fest. Totally not cool. The only cool people here are at Glenn's table, same as bat mitzvah. So maybe they've known each other for some time. The response is at 1:20 a.m. Epstein there with Miley Cyrus. And so this is like official JP Morgan emails where this exchange is happening. Was Epstein actually there with Miley Cyrus? We don't know. But the fact that they made the joke shows that these bankers on their JP Morgan emails are comfortable joking about the billionaire being out.
I bet you they're not joking today. I bet they're not joking today. I wonder if anyone on the list will even be investigated. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, listen. Why, in my opinion, would Epstein unalive himself? He had all the information. All the information. He could have literally taken, shots at people at the highest levels of government.
With young girls.
They were comfortable joking about a lot of really sketchy stuff. We've read these emails in the past talking about who's your favorite like Disney princess. It suggests again a deep familiarity with the kind of bad and illegal stuff that Jeffrey Epstein was interested in and had already been convicted for, would eventually be arrested for again.
Now, remember, Epstein had, he had been charged earlier and, he had been accused earlier, rather, and they had settled out of court. But then over the years, this just kept, dogpiling over and over and over. This is Epstein's Island. Ask yourself, is this normal? What does a temple typically symbolize? What does an owl symbolize? Dark religion. Tunnels underneath, question mark. I don't know if there's tunnels underneath. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but maybe there is. Symbolisms will be downfall. These people are evil. So Jeffrey Epstein had this, literally a temple on the island, and it looked kind of like in Israel, like the dome, right? It got damaged and I guess blew away during a hurricane, and it's not there anymore. But this is about a 5-minute video. It's going to show you around the island. I believe these billionaires, multi-millionaires, they want these islands. So there's no law really on there, right? You're to yourself. You can do anything you want, whenever you want, however you want. Why? You really question people. Now they do, Teddy. Guys, hit that thumbs up for me, please, if you haven't yet already. I'd appreciate it. Oh, look. Look at this. Private road. I don't know what this is. Is it for... I don't even get it, what that is. All right, here's the temple, y'all. Right here's the temple. It used to have a big dome on it over here. Benches everywhere. It's weird. Now, they say that this was used for as a studio for Epstein. Trying to pan it with the drone. So there's that. That always got me. I don't know. I don't quite understand that temple, but who is it? I believe Inside Edition did one. Here we go.
The location that is alleged to have housed these wild orgies. One mystery is this white and blue striped building that looks like a temple. It used to look like this, with a gold dome, but it was lost during a storm. So what's inside? Reportedly, it's a music room where Epstein played the piano. Captain, can you take us in for a closer look?
I think
Near
he did
shore,
more
we
than play the
climb
piano.
aboard a dinghy. This looks like an island paradise, but what allegedly happened here to teenage girls was horrific. Suddenly, a member of Epstein's staff appears when I step off. Sir, is this where the young girls were brought? So this man is now asking us to leave. He's kicking us off the island. So we're going to go. The structure behind me is the main building on this island. And
So there was always someone there to watch, apparently, right? You know, Inside Edition was there, and that man came down and said, "You need to leave." It might have been his brother. Could have been his brother. I don't know if he was in here earlier, Rich, but I was showing when Epstein died, they were saying he was at the hospital. And so his brother went to the hospital, and the hospital said, no, he's at the morgue. And he went to the morgue, and they said, no, he's not here. Where was he? Where was he during that time? Who knows, right? Guys, if y'all don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, I would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel tremendously. Let me show you. It's gonna. Here's Maxwell. I'll show you this. Maybe. Come on, man. Mark. All right. So the guests of Epstein Island came from across the world and from the highest ranks of society. Celebrities, scientists, and members of the royal family touching down in private jets and then boarding a helicopter to the island. Its owner liked to call it Little Saint Jeff. The locals called it Pedo Island. That is some sick whenever the locals call it Pedo Island. I can't say the name here right. But what is the truth about Little St. James, the 75-acre private paradise in the U.S. Virgin Islands that billionaire abuser Jeffrey Epstein once called home? A criminal complaint from the Attorney General of the U.S. Virgin Islands. What is going on with my computer, man? Hold on. I don't think they like me reading about this, maybe. This is weird. Awkward. It's not wanting to refresh. Okay, this is weird. Okay. That's very, very odd. Hey, share. All right. I was trying to refresh it, but it's not wanting. It won't even let me refresh it. All right. Here, we'll play this.
Continue, honestly, Rob. I think we'll see the flight logs. A lot of those have already been leaked. I don't know if they'll show all that much other than these people flew on his airplane. That doesn't necessarily guilt. What I want is the client list. You know, you got these skeevy old dudes that have, everybody said, well, they've gone and had sex on this island. What's the big deal? No, they haven't. They've done an act of violence against a child. They need to be burned on that. And that's the list we need. And they need to be held accountable. And unfortunately, in this country, there's two sets of justice for the rich and the wealthy, the powerful,
True.
and the rest of us. And that needs to end today. And the federal
Very
courts
true.
can prove me wrong, but I think they're compromised as well. I think you've got high-ranking people that have their tentacles have reached into way too far into our government on both sides of the aisle.
So what we're going to get to, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, how some people allege that Jeffrey would get, it went all the way up into, like, I guess, the secret is kind of like that. And they would, have them come to this island. They would do sick things. And that way they would have something over them, to say, oh no, you're gonna do this and you're gonna listen to us, or we're gonna out you for being on, doing this with younger, right? So it could be allegedly like a puppet ring.
And we need to get to the bottom of it.
Who's on the list?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I've seen the plain list. You've seen Prince Andrew and of course Bill Clinton. I mean, these skeezy old perverts. Everybody knows they're dirt bags. I think we need to look at some of the others. It's been rumored that Gates is that Bill Gates, his wife, the reason she left him was because her association with Epstein. But the client list is what we need, and that's cover up will be in.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, just murky at best. Even Jeffrey Epstein's suicide in jail. We still don't know. I mean, we know what they're saying, but all of a sudden, think about it like this, Congressman. The cameras were off. The guard was asleep and apparently he hung himself in his prison cell back in 2019. We know that based on the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and it's not pleasant to talk about, but we know that sex with underage girls is what was happening on this little Epstein Island, which if you've ever been to St. Thomas or St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, you can see this little St. James Island off in the distance. It's right there. And the names on this list, Congressman, I'm learning, or at least seeing that there could be Republicans in Congress, in the Senate, Democrats. I think that you probably know some of the people that are on this list. And I think that a lot of people waking up, particularly in New York and Washington, are a little extra nervous this morning.
Yeah, I would hope they are. And I hope they get burned, every dadgum one of them, because they don't, the Bible's pretty clear about what God thinks about people that mess with a child. I think the American public needs to stand up and do something right finally and demand both sides of the aisle. We need to wash our hands of this deal. This is sickening, and it goes at the core of what is wrong with this world right now in this country with our.
That's why I was saying I don't think this should be politicized, because if it doesn't matter who I or you voted for, if they did something wrong to a child, then we must speak against it. It doesn't matter who it is, who we voted for, who we think's best for this country. The main thing is if they did something, they need to be held accountable, both sides.
Just this gross fascination with this, it's really sickening. And I called it out because Dick Durbin in the Senate, my dear friend Marsha Blackburn, who had the guts to ask for this stuff, he told her no. And then when he was asked about it, he almost denied even knowing who Jeffrey Epstein was or what this was about, when clearly his friend Bill Clinton is all over this thing. And I just think America needs to know.
Yeah.
And to know the fact that we're covering this up should infuriate us. And if there's members of Congress, if they're on my side of the aisle, the other side, I don't care. Burn them all. Burn them to the ground. Let's get this out.
Bingo.
This is the kind of thing that America should not stand for. I know Tennesseans don't stand for it. That gum, America should not stand for this kind of foolishness.
Some of the names that have been rumored to be on this list. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of innuendo out there. One name apparently is mentioned more than 50 times. The notion is right now that maybe that's Bill Clinton. But is there anybody on that list that you might be aware of, that might be named, that maybe we haven't heard about?
Yeah, but I'm not going to mention any names just yet
Yeah,
until they come out.
Feel free to if you'd like to.
Yeah, I know. That's for good TV, but it's not very classy on my part.
Yeah.
And so
well,
they come out. I want them to be. I want it to be legal. I don't start any rumors. But I think also you got to realize too, the Clintons are masters at putting out things that how bad it's going to be. You remember when I did not have sex with that woman,
Right.
and how
We all remember that.
tape was supposed to be, and then when they played the tape, well, it was bad, but it wasn't bad as they said.
Just that was my final question, Congressman, and I don't mean to cut you off. We're just so tight on time. But do you think we actually do get this list, or is this covered up yet again?
I think we won't get the full client list. I think names will be redacted.
No, the people at the underage at the island were not. They weren't sold or anything like that. If that's what you mean. No. So one second. There's on Twitter or X, there the right is putting Clinton everywhere, the left is putting Trump everywhere, and to be honest, they both have been in it.
Was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew; he'll tell you about it. But that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
He he threw Prince Andrew under the bus right there. Good for him for that. Actually,
He was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
I had dinners with him.
I want you to look. I want you to look at how uncomfortable he gets here. Watch his body language. He is so uncomfortable talking about this. So uncomfortable. He's like, it's, I gave him, like $1 trillion to feed children in Africa and vaccinate them. But, it's weird.
I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. That goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continue to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well, I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so in general, you always have to be careful. And
no, Bill.
I'm
no, Bill. You need to be careful.
Very proud of what we've done in philanthropy. Very proud of the work of the foundation. That's what I get up every day and focus on.
Bet you do. Bet you do, Bill. So, oh yeah, he's freaking nervous. You're exactly right, Ziggy. Always late. From what I understand, it was mainly like runaways, teenagers that ran away, or their parents just simply didn't care where they were. Hey, 3 Dot. Good to see you. Hold on, that's something else. I don't know, but you could tell he was extremely nervous there and didn't want to talk about it. I'm trying to find that Melinda Gates interview because she talks about it. Oh, this comedian who railed against everyone in Hollywood that night, and he was joking, but not really joking. Here, I'll play that while I'm looking for this. Just give me 1 second.
The CIA and the Mossad were going to attempt to frame me and then torture me to death. And then 4 hours after that tweet, I was found dead in an ocean. You think that it was just an accident, that the timing of my tweet was suspicious, and then I naturally drowned? I'm asking you that question for a reason. I'm asking you because it's actually happened to somebody. And this story that I read completely sent a shiver up my spine. I think that it will send one up yours as well. A lot of people were sending me information claiming, this sounded to me like a conspiracy theory, that Jeffrey Epstein was a part of our intelligence agencies, that he was actually operating a blackmail ring. And this is the reason why nobody would prosecute him, because he was a protected CIA asset. Jeffrey Epstein would get very powerful people to attend his parties, who would bring them out on the Lolita Express to his island in the Caribbean. He would get them to sleep with women, maybe unbeknownst to them that these women were very young, and then he'd have blackmail. He'd record the acts, and then suddenly he had control over people all around the world. A lot of people in the press were saying this guy, Alexander Acosta, allowed Jeffrey Epstein to get off scot-free. He was asked with the Trump administration, is the Epstein case going to cause a problem? He explained breezily he had just one meeting on the Epstein case. He'd cut the non-prosecution deal with one of Epstein's attorneys because he had been told to back off, that Epstein was above his pay grade. He said, quote, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone.
He was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. That is, what is possibly being alleged, that, he would take, people of power in government and, have them sleep with someone that may be younger, and they even, even the people in power may not know that they were 17, 16 years old. They may have thought they were 21. Maybe they knew they were younger. I don't know. But it was to get, blackmail on them. It's very possible. Very, very possible. These people don't fight.
Melinda French Gates opens up following her and Bill's divorce and the role Jeffrey Epstein.
Let me see if I'm trying to find just the interview.
I think those are questions Bill needs to answer.
Okay. It was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not, that was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made that clear to him.
Right after all of this came out, that is when Melinda asked for a divorce. And what she's saying here is it's not just one thing, it was many things that she didn't like. Many things that she didn't like about him and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Bill. That's an understatement. But I really do like Melinda Gates personally.
Him.
I made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It was awful.
You felt that the moment you walked in. I didn't
He was
realize that.
awful.
Yeah. And you shared that with Bill, and he still continued to spend time with them?
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
Those are for Bill to answer. But she said Jeffrey Epstein, the moment she met him, he was evil personified. Where's the list of? Well, the list, we are waiting for it to come out. They have until midnight for it to come out. There is expected for about 170 to 200 people to be on that list. However, it can come out at any moment.
3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts.
I want y'all to listen to this. This knocked my socks off. I don't even think she knew this was being recorded. I mean, she may have done this on air, but it doesn't seem like it was done on
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the plane. So she told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago. I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story.
Yeah, you don't want to, she didn't bring it out because, in big media, it's all about money. It's really about profit. And, Kate and William, they bring a lot of money to networks and media. And they didn't want to talk about his uncle. So she had this years ago. Listen, it's crazy.
And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the plane. So she told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything.
Clinton.
I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
And you're exactly right, Teddy. He was also previously convicted of SA. He was able to go to work every day and barely was seen in prison. This was years before this happened. Yep. Justin, I have read that lawyers are filing everywhere to stop that list. Not going to happen, in my opinion. They are trying. They are trying. They have until midnight. However, a judge ruled, so we'll see. We'll have to see. Okay, we saw that. All right. Epstein was Killed. No one on the list has been accused of anything other than knowing associating with Epstein. I mean, the people on the list that is going to come out, or that is supposed to come out, it doesn't mean all of them have done anything bad, right? It just means some of them are people that have worked for Epstein. Some of them, they were just traveling. I hope so, Vet Girl. I hope so. I really, really hope so. I'll show you that in a second, that one. Hey, Sonia, good to see ya. Good to see ya.
To hide? Why would you resign?
All right. I don't know if this is true. If someone in chat lives in Florida, can you let me know? This did come from a TikToker, but I thought it was interesting.
Do they have something to hide? Why would you resign? The lights are on and the roaches are scattering. It seems like the elected officials in Florida are resigning left and right before the new year. And they've got everyone from mayors to city councilmen jumping ship. And why are they leaving so rapidly? A new law is taking effect January the 1st, requiring all elected officials to fill out a Form 6. This would release all their financial documentation of where their money comes from, how much money they earn, etc. Oh, the same form they make business owners complete. Now, many are waving goodbye, saying it's an invasion of their privacy. And believe it or not, but all kinds of people elected to office are stepping down because of this.
So I absolutely think I don't know if this is true happening in Florida, but the point I wanted to make about this is, in my opinion, these politicians should absolutely have to fill out a Form 6 where their financials come from. We do as Americans. We have to tell you where all of our money comes from. Their donations need to be public from these special interests that they get, the lobbying that changes our laws every single day, these special interest groups. That is not fair. It's not in the best interest of the American people. It's in the best interest of the pocketbooks of the politicians. And that is what it's for. That is exactly. And they simply don't have to show it. Oh, he was a very, 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 he gave to a lot of lobbies, special interests, PACs, all of that. So that TikToker, she's saying that a lot of politicians, they don't want to show, I guess, where their monies, came from. So they're, she says, scattering like roaches.
Name apparently is on that list 55 times. You know, Republicans have been kind of wistful for the Clinton years of the last in recent years. This is the president who told us the era of big government was over. He signed welfare reform. He balanced the budget. He signed legislation to crack down on and deport illegal migrants. And you know, now the era of big government is back. We've got the worst border crisis in American history, and so Republicans have kind of looked back and said, why were we so mean to this guy? Why didn't we appreciate him more when we had him? And then something like this comes out and you realize this is why he was a cretin. It reminds you of the Monica Lewinsky scandal, Troopergate, the bimbo eruptions, Paula Jones. I mean, the list goes on. And now he's, you know, on a list with associated with this known child sex trafficker. It's a reminder of why Republicans, you know, should not be wistful for the Clinton years, despite the policy differences.
Yeah. And obviously, there's been a lot of effort on Capitol Hill to get to this list, to get to who's on the list. But as far as legal action or legal liability going forward, there's a real question mark there.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know who's on the list. We don't know what it says about Bill Clinton. We don't know if he is accused of doing anything other than being associated with this guy. So we really have to wait and see what the list says and what the individuals are accused of. But there are 150 people whose names have not been previously publicly identified, many of them, who were associates of a known sex trafficker. I mean, this is a guy who was raping young girls. You know, and if we take that seriously as a society, then we've got to hold consequences for these people. And maybe they're not, I don't know if there can be legal consequences, but there certainly should be, you know, social consequences. You know, this whole line, you know, the Democrats lionized Bill Clinton after he left office, after he survived his impeachment. They have feted him at Democratic conventions, and they tried to elect his wife because they wanted a Clinton political machine to give him one more big win. And, you know, they sold their souls to defend Bill Clinton. And maybe I'd like to see some of these Democrats who defended Bill Clinton over the years finally come out and say, you know, maybe we were wrong. Maybe this guy really isn't a hero of the Democratic Party. Maybe he shouldn't be speaking at the Democratic convention this summer. Maybe he should be shunned by our party.
It's time to get.
It's interesting.
In my opinion, it's time to get new blood, not, you know, physical, but new people in, you know, in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, in local government, in big government, all the way around. I mean, these people have been in there since, you know, the birth of Christ almost. They have been in there for decades. That is not good. All right. This was this one, what I'm going to show you now, is really interesting. Because she doesn't make any bones about what she's saying. Is this it? No. Where is it at? Okay, it's Mississippi now. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, here we go.
That the CIA and the Mossad were going to attempt to frame me and then torture me to death. And then 4 hours after that tweet, I was found dead in an ocean. You think that it was just an accident, that the timing of my tweet was suspicious, and then I naturally drowned? I'm asking you that question for a reason. I'm asking you because it's actually happened to somebody. And this story that I read completely sent a shiver up my spine. I think that it will send one up yours as well. A lot of people were sending me information claiming, this sounded to me like a conspiracy theory, that Jeffrey Epstein was a part of our intelligence agencies, that he was actually operating a blackmail ring. And this is the reason why nobody would prosecute him, because he was a protected CIA asset. Jeffrey Epstein would get very powerful people to attend his parties, and bring them out on the Lolita Express to his island in the Caribbean. He would get them to sleep with women, maybe unbeknownst to them that these women were very young, and then he'd have blackmail. He record the acts, and then suddenly he had control over people all around the world.
Yeah, so he had allegedly control over people all over, you know, as a way to... Okay, here it is. This is it. All right. Epstein Island victim. Quote, I have spent 17 years in my own prison for what Jeffrey and co-conspirators did to me. I was AR'd 3 times per day sometimes, and I was not the only girl there. There was a constant stream of girls being AR'd over and over again. All right, listen to this.
Spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old
27.
when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10. That is how long the sex trafficking ring has been going on.
She was 10, she alleges. 10 years old. A constant stream. Why are these grown, old sickos, like I see you said in chat, why they could have anyone they wanted? Why are they wanting children? Allegedly. Listen
I
to that again.
have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10. That is how long the sex trafficking ring has been going on. I have.
Oh, she said she was 10 when it started. It's been 27 years for the lady to her side there. This has been going on for alleged decades. And if that doesn't boil your blood, right, baby kisses? Exactly. I mean, there is so many of sickness out here. Okay, we saw that one. That was old Billy Gates fondling his hands. He's all scared.
Associated with Jeffrey Epstein could be unsealed as early as today, possibly including some powerful people. Last month, a federal judge ruled the names of Epstein's alleged victims and those connected to him must be made public. The list could contain more than 150 names. It does not imply knowledge of his alleged
100 up to 200. She said 150. I've heard 170.
crimes or involvement in them. Nancy Chen has more.
Nearly 4.5 years after Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in a New York federal prison, names of Epstein's associates, employees, and alleged victims are expected to be unsealed in court documents related to a 2015 settled civil suit involving Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for helping Epstein groom and sexually abuse underage.
This woman right here is now in prison. She was the one who there's a channel, there's a show in Canada called The Fifth Estate, and there's this billionaire in Canada. Look up The Fifth Estate and on YouTube and you can find it. This man in Canada did the exact same thing. He had a couple men always find younger, very young, in some cases, 12, 13. They always have the people who's, that finds them, their victims. And, it's, pretty, uh, pretty young girls, and they'll give them like this guy in Canada, he had like a room, and he would hand them this big golf bag, and it would be like Prada, Tom Ford, Louis Vuitton, all of, the nice material things. And he would pay them and let them fill up a golf bag full of whatever they wanted. It's really just the version of, a child walking along the street and saying, "Oh, here, you want some candy? Get in the van." It's just a different way for these rich people, to do it.
Girls. Maxwell and Epstein have been accused of running a sex trafficking operation. In 2020, alleged Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre told Gayle King she believed Maxwell likely had incriminating information on high-profile people.
People like who? People well-known names?
Very well-known names. The government officials, the politicians,
This woman right here, she's a victim.
the royalty.
Giuffre accused Epstein and Maxwell of sex trafficking her to Britain's Prince Andrew when she was 17. He denied her allegations, and they settled out of court in 2022. Former President Bill Clinton, who has never been accused of any wrongdoing connected to Epstein, could also be named in the unsealed documents. CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman says this is believed to be the final document dump related to Epstein.
I think it's highly significant for documents to be unsealed so that the complete story of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell can be made public. We need to know, as members of the public who have an interest in keeping women and young girls, children, safe from predators.
We reached out to a representative for former President Clinton who pointed us to a statement from 2019 that said he knows nothing about Epstein's crimes. Now, the judge in this case did allow anyone who did not want to be named to come forward and petition the court to keep their name a secret. But just because you're on the list doesn't mean that you're necessarily guilty, but it could also mean that you could get cleared.
Okay. So what is the connection or the association that people have to be on the list?
You could be as much as an employee or a linchpin behind all of this.
Okay. So it might say nothing. It might
Could
say
say
something.
something. A lot of people are watching.
The names of people.
So there's that. Many of the guilty are going. Oh, I hope. I mean, I hope. I don't know about that, but there's going to be a lot of PR right now trying to make themselves look a lot better, to say the very least.
Has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those.
Okay, now I know, and again, I've saw some kind of arguments in chat of people saying, "Oh, well, Trump is on it. Oh, Trump is not on it." We have no idea. And regardless, like I said earlier, I don't think this should be politicized for Democrats or Republicans. I think if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you've done this to a child, you've done it to a child, and the American people has to stand against it. It doesn't matter if it's Clinton, if it's Trump, if it's, Andrew. It just doesn't matter because it's wrong. But this guy right here, he alleges that years ago, when this was being claimed before, that Trump was the only person that would take questions. So it kind of makes him look pretty good in this.
Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who have accused Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims of that case was dropped? It was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion, as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say?
You know, it's like, do we want RSOs, child RSOs in our White House, you know, in our Senate, in our House of Representatives? Do we want that just because you like someone's policies? Well, first of all, I'd like whether you're at least a decent human being or not.
As to the validity of those claims, or whether or not there will be any more about that?
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, "Let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know," and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that.
All right. So, you know, like in this clip, you know, this is Trump allegedly kicked him, Jeffrey Epstein, out of Mar-a-Lago before. That's a good thing if, you know, that happened. However, there is photos of Trump. To be fair, there's photos of Trump holding on to Jeffrey Epstein, kissing him. So, you know, although people can change their minds about someone, here is another one of Trump talking about Clinton. I think he's talking about Clinton.
Least Epstein's list
here we go. Listen to
because
that.
they're on it. Duh. They're on the list. You can't release what you're on. Obviously, the Epstein story is one of the most fascinating ones of our time in terms of the corruption in our justice system, right? You have a Justice Department that just did everything they possibly could to not prosecute him. When a lone reporter forced them essentially to have to re-examine this, they did everything that they could to cover everything. I mean, it doesn't make sense that we don't have access to that clientele list. It just literally does not make any sense. It defies logic. And the only possible and plausible answer to why we have no access to it is because there are some extremely powerful names on it. Extremely powerful, as in the people that are behind the biggest corporations on earth, the NGOs. We know that Bill Gates was on the Lolita Express, individuals of that nature. It remains to be seen what will happen to Ghislaine Maxwell. Next question.
That's Candace Owens there, you know, talking, and she's like, you know, they don't want the list to come out because they're freaking on it. That's another one. Yep. That's another one. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's the saying. That's the saying. I'll play that maybe tomorrow. Here, I'll actually drop it in chat so y'all can see it. Y'all want to see it? This is a comedy. It's a comedy, but the comedian, he's at the Golden Globes, and he's railing on some of the sickos in Hollywood. One that we are pretty sure that is on the list is Bill Clinton. No, Irish, we've known, but several prominent names are expected to be mentioned in the court documents about Jeffrey Epstein when they're made public later on this week, which is today. They have by midnight. It is 6 p.m. Eastern right now. So in the next 6 hours, a judge ruled that the names can be unsealed beginning January 1. However, court is closed on that date because of New Year's, so it's tonight. One of the names in the redacted filings is under former President Bill Clinton. ABC wrote Clinton, identified as Doe 36, is mentioned at least 50 times in the filing. These documents come from a settled civil lawsuit Julia filed against British socialite Julian Maxwell in 2015. Julia claimed that Epstein and Maxwell had pressured her as a teenager into SEXUAL thrice with other powerful men, including Prince Andrew. We all know that picture of Prince Andrew with the young minor. All of these men denied the allegations, and Julia later settled a lawsuit against Andrew out of court. Clinton and Epstein, several of the redacted documents, ABC writes, focuses on efforts to subpoena Clinton for a deposition. God, I hope that happens. I want to see that. Testimony about his relationship with Epstein. Can you imagine Bill Clinton doing a deposition about this? ABC said Julia's legal team initiated informal discussions while attorneys from the witnesses in June of 2016, just days after Clinton's wife, Hillary, became Democratic nominee for president. So where was it? The Epstein, a federal judge last month ordered that the documents that named dozens of people associated with Epstein are unsealed as part of a civil lawsuit against Maxwell. District Judge Loretta Preska said she made her decision to unseal the documents as many of the people named in them are already in media interviews or have already had their names listed in other public documents for this case. Let me just see if anything has came out since in the last little bit. I don't think, no. Just think here. All right. Yeah, nothing as of yet. I'm sure it's probably going to end up coming out about 1 minute until midnight, 11:59, because this is going to be fought for the next 6 hours, because, if you've got as many as 150 people on a list, probably 100 of them and their attorneys are scrambling right now. The night of the pick of Trump's and Epstein was the night kicked out of Mar-a-Lago. Listen, I like Biden many years ago whenever it was vice president was shipped. Yeah, to me, this is not a political thing. No, Pickle Toast Grandma. We've got the list of the flight like it's not the actual list though, and I'm just not ready to put that out yet. But here's Trump's
Nice guy. Got a lot.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
You know, Trump, he threw he threw a lot of shade at Prince Andrew and Clinton because of that. He was so it's interesting. Okay, here we go.
Early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey. He admired Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marlon?
She's got Marlon's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this pregnant.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, you know, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the factory.
Okay, so this is the log that you're talking about, but this isn't it's really hard to read, but we're waiting for more to come out. And this is the one they're saying, but I'm just yeah, they should be in prison. And about young girls and their accusations. It seems like he's the only one speaking out about it, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, let's see here. There was this is the only Steve Curry was found on the page 88 of Jeffrey Epstein's flight log, which got released today, is what it says. I'm not sure if that is. All right. Let's see here. What's this? That Epstein flight log, why in Scotland Yard and the Home Office listed under security in Jeffrey Epstein's contact. Did the British government provide protection? Question mark. Bill Clinton to be named in Epstein docs 3 hours ago. See, I don't think that log is right. I mean, it might be, but here, let's look at this TikTok. 1 second.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. So there's been a lot of stuff going around the internet right now. Well, not really on the internet, but most likely on like TikTok and YouTube and everything else from right-wing creators going on about the Epstein flight logs. So, out of curiosity, I said, you know what? Let me just go on and check them out for myself. So it turns out that a lot of the names that the right wing is throwing at everybody, like Anderson Cooper and Lady Gaga and Madonna, and it's all bullshit. I mean, I fine-tooth combed this entire flight log, 118 pages of it, and I didn't find their names at all. But I will say, Bill Clinton is all over this thing. all over this thing. I saw Chris Tucker a lot
Everyone
too,
can agree
which
about
kind of
that. Yeah.
sucks because I was a big fan of Chris Tucker and Clinton.
Chris
But
Tucker?
you know, I don't like pedos, so yeah, fuck those guys. But anyway, so besides the right giving you all bullshit names that are on this flight log that, again, I couldn't find them. You could go to the website. You could just Google it and you'll get the unredacted.
Oh crap! I didn't mean to do that.
Unredacted flight log list. But I did find a name in 1993 on page 18. You'll see Donald Trump right there. Right there. So yeah, page 18, Donald Trump. You'll see him. He's there plain as day. So also, which was not reported, they said he was only on it once. He actually shows up 6 times in 1993 on these flight logs. So once again, the right is a bunch of fucking liars.
Okay, okay, you're biased. I don't want to hear you. This person's biased. I'm not interested in biased. What does this say? President Bill Clinton brought the Secret Service along to take Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, as newly disclosed flight log documents show. It's hard to read. Hello, dear. Good to see you. Yeah. Let's see. What's this? Donald Trump flights on Jeffrey Epstein Lolita Express, what we knew. There is speculation from former President Donald Trump coming or could become among the high-profile names included in the unsealed documents related to pedo Jeffrey Epstein, as the former president sometimes used the S offender's private jet. Well, but using someone's private jet doesn't make them, to be fair, it doesn't make them an S offender. It doesn't matter, if Bill Clinton used Epstein's private jet, that doesn't make him an S offender. If Trump uses his private jet, it doesn't make him an S offender. What makes them an S offender is if they're an S offender. If they knew about what was happening, if they was partying with them, right? Not Phil Collins. Was Phil Collins? So, I mean, we use our political bias and try to point at the person we don't like, right? But I think fair is fair, and I don't blame someone for using their jet. I don't blame Donald Trump for using a jet. I don't blame Clinton for using a jet. What I blame them for is if they actually did something. Oh, thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot because this video is not getting monetized. I'm going to get a copyright claim out the ass on this one. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. But I think it's important to talk about. And many of the victims were in NYC. No jet used or in Florida. Little girls. Yeah. So, not every man that goes to church is. Yes, Karen. we know that it was about in 98, but in 93 there is still logs from Jeffrey Epstein. It wasn't about going to the island. It was about whether, this has been going on since before 98. This has been going on for decades. If they visited his island or his home often, they would have seen very many very young girls. Yes. In my opinion, any celebrity guest, or old perv politician who was on that island should be shamed. You would have to know something very. So, how do I feel about that? I don't know. Like, like, if Jeffrey wasn't on the island at the time, and let's say Trump visited the island, and Jeffrey wasn't there and he was just borrowing the house on a vacation or whatever for a moment, um that's one thing. That don't that doesn't mean he did anything. But I think it's like, if you've continually been around this person and you're like partying with him, like the parties is what I really question. The parties where all of these people of money and are in power, and they're constantly going to these parties, constantly hanging out together. I mean, you know, Clinton, he's supposed to be on this log as many as 50 times. Now, in my opinion, if you've been around someone 50 times, you probably know something, right? Uh, but I think it just depends on the situation, though. Uh, yes, yes. He kept client lists and transaction lists. That's what, in my opinion, everyone. Yes, bingo, vet. Yes, that's exactly right. In my opinion, anybody that was a somebody knew what Epstein was about. Um, Deb, thank you so much for becoming a member, my love. Appreciate it. Welcome to the family. Check out the New York Post article about what was found in his New York apartment. Epstein's frazzle drip. Why would Trump need to borrow a jet? I mean, I don't know. Mhm. This is the last leak or documents that are supposed to be coming out. Uh, painting of Bill Clinton in a dress. Okay. It sounds like Don Wells would love these people. uh, well, Danny H, that's what we were talking about earlier. Epstein could have been doing this. I think Epstein wanted people of power to do the same thing as him, because it's not only it's his illness, but it also helps him in business. Oh, if you don't do this favor for me, we can bust it out or something. And Red Hills, cool. Forgot a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hanging on his wall. That's not surprising. He had them all in the video too. Hey, love. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Not just a painting of Bill in a dress, but the blue dress that Monica wore a black dress. Maxwell thought she was gonna be. Yeah, to be honest with you, Maxwell, like, in my opinion, she's the dirtiest one because I don't think Epstein, because of his status and his profile, like, he's not going to go out and directly find someone, right? Because of his profile and his status. This woman is the one that lured these young children in. And to me, she's just as sick or even more, because I don't think Epstein would have done this on his own. I don't think he could have because of because of who he was, his status and his profile. Monica wore a black dress, didn't she? Was it blue? I thought it was black. Okay, maybe it is blue. Shows you how much I care about a Yeah, it does look suspicious. It does look suspicious. So anyway, if when this comes out, I'll be live. I'll come live and we'll look at it together. Yeah, I agree with that, Grandma. Pickle toes. Blue with a weird stain. Ugh. Can you imagine kissing any of these old fucks? Ugh. No, thank you. Mm-mm. No, no. I would like to thank Single Mom True Crime for becoming a member again, and Single Mom for gifting a membership. And Jessica, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And Deb, thank you for becoming a member on this live stream. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I think the chat voted navy blue for Monica Lewinsky. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I will be live if anything comes about this. Tim Ballard, 3. Dave says, I want to celebrate and promote the fight against challenge. Tim Ballard. I'll look that up. Oh, thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate you so much for supporting. And Aaron Davis, thank you so much for 16 months. It means more than you know. Keeping my little channel going. I appreciate it. It was shown somewhere. Clinton's dress. Oof. I don't even want to imagine. These people, let me tell you something, and this is something that it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, that most Americans agree on. Term limits. They don't need to be in we have term limits on presidents. Why not senators and people in the House and all of this? How? I mean, these are the people that, make the laws happen. Hell, these people are in there for 40, 50, 60 years. They will, I mean, they look like they're dead setting their writing law. They're like, oh, I'll vote on it. God have mercy. Give these fuckers term limits. Cover Bohemian Grove. I'm gonna look this up. What's that? Bohemian Grove, a secret society. Bohemian Grove Illuminati. Bohemian is a secret society operating in America. members of the society are most influential people in America and the world. I'll look that up. The Illuminati shit just kind of, I don't know about that, but it's interesting. Yes. Mhm. And listen, I don't think that they should be there to become millionaires and billionaires. They should be there for our country, and they should not get special interest. Yep, I just hate that people pretend to be into just to get in the inner circle. You're right. Very right. All right, guys. Love you all. I'll see you guys real soon. Thank you all for being here. They look dead writing laws, Ruby. They do. They look dead. I mean, they are up there like, I mean, it's like they prop them up and have them basically on life support to sign a bill. Sign this. We need your vote. You're gonna die right now, so sign it. All right. Love you all. See you later. Bye bye.